Welcome, Growing Truth fans, to another exciting episode of Norsin Around. We cover the Northern Kentucky University Athletic Department. Of course, I am James Ernest, and my co-host, Alex Gray. Alex,
hello.
What's the Norse been up to?
Well, the NKU men's basketball team was playing in the Tarkett Sports Classic up in Oxford, Ohio, and they went 2-1 on that series. They lost their first game, won their next two. They beat Miami, the hosts, 79-70. Holland and McDonald, Lavone, Holland the second, Drew McDonald got the tournament all-team.
Mm-hmm. That's always good news. It's always nice to be honored with awards. If I would have actually filled out my because I was up there on Friday, and the guys that were running the tournament, really nice fellas, were like, oh, yeah, shoot, all the media gets to vote. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it back up on Sunday to do the voting. Otherwise, I would have just voted all NKU guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that. That would have been right. But
yeah.
I definitely would have at least probably three. Because they had it in the voting. They had it where you voted for MVP, and you voted 5 all-team selections. So there actually were 6 players that got awards, which was nice. And then, unfortunately, they didn't have a trophy for the event because they were like, well, what if they go 2-1? In which they were right, because Austin P went 2-1. They beat Northern, and then, of course, they beat I forget if they beat Delaware or Miami, but they beat one of the other two. And then Delaware beat Miami. Yeah, so Austin must have beat Delaware. That's what it was. And then, of course, Northern, like you said, 2-1 as well. So, it's kind of everyone was pretty even. If they would have had to decide a champion, it probably would have been Austin because Austin beat Northern, and they both were 2-1. So the tiebreaker probably would have went that way. We would have lost it. So I can't complain there. But it was a nice venue up there in Miami. Millette is nice there, a nice stadium. And unfortunately, the game I did go to didn't travel well, didn't have a big attendance. I'm hoping the rest of the tournament went pretty well for them. But yeah, the first game, of course, as the game was ending, fans started showing up for the Miami game since they're the home team and the host. They're going to, of course, draw better. So I'm sure the Sunday game against Miami went well for Northern attendance-wise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they had so men, had a pretty big weekend. Most of the guys, like the first game, Williams did really well. I believe he got like 13 points. The problem, though, with him was that he was 2 of 8 or somewhere around that, where actually at one point he missed 5 or 6 free throws in a row. It was maddening. It was just driving me crazy because he kept getting the fouls. He was doing all the right things, but he just couldn't capitalize. That was the darn problem. And then, of course, Drew had a great tournament. Every game he did well. So there's no complaining about him. Because Drew, when he gets to the line, finishes. He gets the free throws. And that free throws are huge in college basketball, as you know. It can be, one team might have a rebound advantage, which Northern actually has done really well this year on rebounding. I was pleasantly surprised because I thought we would be behind in that. But for the year, 215 to 156, so that's pretty good rebound differential.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us not being a huge team, obviously we were excited about the 7-footer for next season, which is going to even help that stat even better. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're doing good. We're doing better at shooting percentage. Our threes are what's kind of hurting us, which is a surprise because Northern's known for threes. But the other team's shooting a little bit better percentage threes on average. So it's just one of those things that, it's still early in the season. We've only got 5 games in, but, now after that tournament, we're back above 500, so that's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other thoughts or insight?
Well, their next game is against North Carolina Central at home. They are the Eagles. They are currently 2-2. had losses on the road to Marshall and a close one with Ohio State, and they won on the road against Western Carolina and won against Jackson State. So they'll be playing this Saturday at 7 against Northern Kentucky.
So they're not bums, in other words. You said they're like 3-1, basically.
North Carolina Central 2-2.
2-2. Oh yeah, because the Ohio State, like you said, it was close. They didn't win it. Which, shoot, I know there's no such things as moral victories, but if you're a directional school like that and you happen to be close against Ohio State, that's pretty darn good. It doesn't count as a win, but it doesn't feel bad either when you happen to lose. Same like, of course, Northern's game against Illinois. Illinois, Big Ten school, we, of course, want to win those games, but if they happen not to, it's hard to get mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, switching over to the women's, so far they've, of course, only played 3 games because they didn't have that tournament to go to. So that was unfortunate because that has definitely got the guys, more experienced, more revved up as the season starts. Then again, the women have had that luxury in the past where they've done the postseason tournament and the men didn't, so it balances out. Of course, they had finally gotten their first success against IU East, so that's good.
Yep.
The team, less turnovers and better rebounding, so it's getting there. They're still working on some stuff. At the end of the show, of course, we're going to toss to an interview with Camryn Whitaker, the women's head coach, at the end of the program. But I wanted to see what you thought about their next opponent. Who do they got?
Actually, tonight, the NKU women's team played the Ohio Bobcats on the road and unfortunately had a 58-41 loss. Kelly Wigman had 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Rebecca Little, 9 points, 10 rebounds, no assists. Casey Utrecht had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Let's see. Michaela Terry had 4 points and 7 rebounds, 1 assist. And Taryn Tarr had 4 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist.
Okay. So, not a bad game, but not what you want to see out of the team. But as the interview will cover with Coach, she goes into, of course, their big recruiting class and, of course, how they're young this season. Not many seniors on the team, so it should be a nice over the next couple of years as they grow and improve together. That'll be nice. Of course, like you said, there's a game Saturday against East Tennessee. And then the game that I'm interested in, because, of course, I'm interested in the ones I go to more so than, the ones I don't get to see, the Stetson University. They're going to be playing at 11:30 a.m. And normally you'd be like, oh, I don't like that. That's way too soon to be playing in the morning. But the really cool part about that is on that Wednesday, and I talked to Brad Pope from the athletic department, and he has told me about how they're projecting to have about 3,000 to 4,000 students at the game. College students, no. High school students, no. Elementary. So it's a first opportunity for those kids to be on a college campus to just get that thought. Maybe I can be a college student. Or, of course, more important for the young ladies in the audience, maybe I can be an athlete. Maybe maybe I can be up there on the big stage and people cheer for me and, that kind of just nice atmosphere. So it'll be nice and educational. It'll be inspirational. It's going to do a lot, I think, for the Northern Kentucky community. That's always a good thing because, like last week, actually on Friday, I was at the Xavier equivalent of this event, and they had about 2,000 students. I don't want to assume or stereotype, but I'm gonna, because that's what I do, that most of the people that were in the crowd were not traditionally getting to go to sporting events as much as they would like. So some of them might have never been, never gotten to that experience, and the cool part was, the fans, because they had never been to a game before, were just so thrilled and so appreciative. And and you could tell that the players appreciated being appreciated. I know that kind of sounds a little repetitive, but yeah, it was nice. They were treated like the rock stars that they deserve to be treated. Because unfortunately, our ownership included, doesn't always believe that women's sports are equal to men's, and that's unfortunate. I mean, yes, women's basketball, there's not as much dunking, and there's some differences. But when you watch Connecticut, you watch University of Tennessee, you watch the big schools that know what they're doing, and that's the thing. It just takes time. I mean, I'm sure when, Adolph Rupp was winning the championships, the other teams, there's a reason why they won every year. Same with UCLA and Coach Wooden. Because the other schools didn't know what they were doing. There wasn't the depth wasn't there. Same with women's sports now. There's not. I mean, there's way more depth than there used to be, but there's still not enough depth that you're going to see amazing games. But when you go and see the big names, you see the big schools, you see top quality basketball. So looking forward to that game on Wednesday. I think that's going to be huge for, like I said, just the community in general. So got a couple other ones, and of course you go into December and road games, playing at IU. That could be really nice. But I don't want to ramble on about that kind of stuff. Like you said, nice thing was the men's team had a good run this tournament, going 2-1. Hopefully got a little bit of attention, a little bit of credit for that. Like you said, some of the players were shown some love and appreciation, so that's always nice. So some good things came from it. Unfortunately, you're right. The women's team didn't win tonight, but they're improving and they'll get there. They just need to cut down the turnover big time and get a little bit better rebounding. So, any final thoughts, Alex?
They're playing Stetson at 11:30 a.m. You mentioned the kids coming in. I think that's great. Hopefully some NKU students don't have any classes. They can go to that as well. So that's kind of weird, a game going on during school. How about that noise? But, I mean, I have a class during that time, but, I'm not,
so
I don't have
that are watching, or not watching, listening to our program, if you happen to be, off on a Wednesday, or you happen to have a nice little break during the day, feel free to go up to Northern and enjoy the game.
Yeah, please do.
So what I'm going to do, we're going to toss to a pre-recorded interview with, of course, Coach Camryn Whitaker. We talk about the recruits. We talk about the goals for the season. Kind of a nice little mix. I think it's like a 5 to 10 minute interview, about the same length as the show. So for James Ernest and Alex Gray, the Grueling Truth is signing off, but don't, of course, turn off the show because there's a nice little interview there at the end. As always, we appreciate you listening to the Norsin Around on the Grueling Truth. Thank you.
So, Coach, why'd you pick NKU?
Well, luckily they picked me. So nice. This is a place that I grew up loving, and I grew up 45 minutes down the road. So I've watched how it's grown and developed over the years, and Nancy recruited me, and Nancy recruited my sister out of high school. So, it's just a program that I've always followed closely, and obviously being close to my hometown in Cynthiana, it's a place that I care about and that I like being. I like being in Kentucky.
Excellent. So you had played here?
No, I played at Western Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
But we grew up coming to team camps. My dad was my high school coach, and Nancy recruited us.
Excellent. So what type of impact or influence has she had on your coaching style?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. Obviously, since I got the job here, I've leaned on her, and I've called her, and she checks on me, and she comes to practices, and I want her to be involved. It would be silly for me not to use her as a resource with the experience that she has. I've known her over the years in my coaching career, but haven't kept in touch a whole lot until I got this job, and thankfully, she's willing to be involved and to help me as much as I need it.
Excellent. So who are the, was it 5 or 6 you said we can talk about?
We have 6 players
Excellent.
that are signed to play with us, and we are really excited about our class for next year. We're going to be young, but it's an exciting thing because I think they're players that are really talented, and regardless of their youth, they can play multiple positions and are pretty versatile. The first one we signed was Reese Munger out of Canada. And she's a 6'2", 3-4 player, stretch 4 type of player. We'll probably play her a lot at the guard. I think she's a really tough matchup, but she's very skilled, works extremely hard. Was super excited about her. And then we've got a 5'11" post player out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Jasmine Geist, she's a bruiser and she's a winner. She plays down low, so she's a little undersized, but she can finish around the basket. She comes from a highly ranked basketball team at Homestead.
Yeah, I was going to say, they're, 63-5 or something crazy like that the last couple of years, and been in the top in the nation. So, yeah, that's always good to have a nice pedigree coming from there.
Yeah, she knows how to win. And at the end of the day, that's hard to teach. When it's nice to recruit players that know what it means to win and that care about winning. And then we've got Grayson Rose from Ohio, who's a 6'3" kid and brings us size down in the paint, which we desperately need. I think defensively she's really going to be able to help us alter some things in the paint. And then offensively she's going to be able to do some stuff. She can rebound. She can finish down low. She can shoot it, from the outside. So I'm excited about Grayson, and she loves MKU, which is one of my favorite things about her. This is a place that she fell in love with it when she came here, and so she truly cares about the school, and I think that's important.
Oh, very.
And then we've got Grace White from Kentucky, who's from Grayson County, and she brings us length and athleticism on the wing. China Anthony from Indiana, Jeffersonville, Indiana. She goes to New Albany High School. She's about a 6'1", really athletic player, can really run the floor and defend. Brings us a level of athleticism that we probably haven't ever seen here at Northern Kentucky, and I think we need that. And then Kaylee Coffey is a player who's decided to join our team too, from Russell. She's from Kentucky, and she's a 3-4 type of player. We'll play her mostly at the wing in high school. They don't have a lot of size, so she's got to.
Exactly.
Which is good for her because that means she could play a wing and post up some guards, and she's got experience doing that. But just extremely hard-nosed kid that I've known for a really long time, since she was in 7th grade. So I'm excited about our class.
It sounds great, yes.
Brings us a couple Kentucky kids, which we don't have right now, which I think is important to recruit your home state.
Exactly, because it does build kind of the fan base. I mean, it gives them someone local to root for.
That's right.
I know currently with the men's, having a couple of the local fellas come up from Owington and different other places, it is kind of helped, if not anything else, attendance.
Oh, definitely. And John and I kind of share the same philosophy in terms of that. We got to try to recruit the best players in our state and in our area. And he's done a great job of that. While they're young, I definitely think we've all seen improvement in that. And I think, when you recruit players in your state, there's a different level of pride that you have. You kind of, it's like, we're from Kentucky. This is a Kentucky school.
Exactly.
Like, I'm playing, it means something to you. Not that it doesn't mean something to the others.
I know what you mean. Like you mentioned, the young lady from Ohio
exactly
is falling in love with Northern, which is great.
Right.
Let's see. Who would you say was your biggest influence coaching-wise?
Oh, my dad, definitely. For people that don't know him, most people do in the state of Kentucky, but he's been coaching high school baseball for 40 years, and he's I think the second winningest coach in the history of baseball in Kentucky, and he's been National Coach of the Year twice. And it doesn't matter what sport you coach. Good coaches are good coaches, and I've grown up around it. I've grown up in the gym and on a baseball field, so it's in my blood. My grandfather was a coach in Kentucky, boys high school coach, and so it's in my family. And Dad was up here the other day helping me, watching film with me, and kind of talking me through some stuff, and so I value that very much.
Do you have any goals in mind for this season? Not so much, of course, everyone wants to win, everyone wants to get to the tournament, but like progress for specific players that you're looking for, either improvement in lack of or less turnovers or better rebounding, that kind of thing?
Definitely. One thing that we're talking to our kids about, we set goals at the beginning of the year. We want to make the NCAA tournament. We want to win 20 games a year. We have all those goals. But right now, we're not focused on winning. We're not focused on goals. We're focused on the process and how we're going to reach our end result. And that's really what I want. I want our kids focusing on improving every day. And the coaches are trying to instill that in them. And, I told the kids after the last game at Miami, or when we played Miami, all I care about is that we improved. So, Indiana State, we had 27 turnovers. We had 19 against Miami of Ohio.
There you go.
So that was improvement. We did not shoot the ball well against Indiana State. And then we come out Miami of Ohio, and while we didn't shoot it like we want to or like we're capable of, we still shot 40%, and we improved our shooting. And so, obviously, all of those things need to continue to get better. We don't want to turn it over 19 times.
Exactly.
We don't want to give up 11 offensive rebounds. But from Indiana State to Miami of Ohio, we improved statistically, and I thought we improved on the floor. And so that's all we're focused on. I think if we take care of all those little things, the winning will come. And I truly believe that. And that's the type of culture that we're trying to instill in our team.
Who are the leaders on this year's team?
Obviously, I think Casey Utrecht is a big leader. She's a junior returning. She's a team captain. The kids voted her as team captain, as well as Kelly Wegman and Becca Little. And so those three, I'm really looking to get this team and put them on their backs and get this thing going and building this culture that we're trying to build. But you look, there's many leaders that lead in different ways, and Molly Glick she's just a sophomore, but the work ethic that she displays every day, I think, is a great leadership quality. And Laura Thomas, even as a freshman, that's a kid that does exactly what I want her to do. She talks, she communicates, she encourages her teammates, she echoes what I say. She's really trying hard, and she believes in us. And she believes in me, which is important to me.
Oh, definitely.
As a coach.
Yeah, because if the players don't believe in the coach, I don't want to reference any team in particular, University of Cincinnati football, but they don't believe in the coach, it does make it quite difficult to be successful. Yeah.
It does, and that takes time.
Yes.
Even though I've been here 6 months, it's still, sometimes that takes years for stuff like that to happen. It doesn't just happen overnight. So, we try to spend a lot of time together. Just working on building our relationships individually and as a team.
Speaking of relationships, and you mentioned you'd worked with Coach Winstel, have any of the former players reached out to you?
Definitely. I speak with Carmen Graham quite a bit, and I just talked to her on the phone yesterday. She comes to games, and Betsy, her friend Betsy that played here, and few other players, they come to games, and we've tried to get some alumni stuff going. And obviously, I want all of our former players to be involved in our program because they're the reason we are where we are. And 2 national championships and all of these things are what has gotten us to be Division I. And so I value all of our former players, former coaches. People that have been a part of this program and put their heart and soul into this program and making sure that it succeeds. It's that kind of stuff is really important to me.
Excellent. I have one question left, and it is probably the toughest question out there. Which one did you vote on? Did you vote on Victor 1, Victor 2, or Victor 3?
I didn't vote on any of the victors.
Didn't vote on any of the victors?
I don't. That's somebody else's job. That's not my job.
I know,
it's a good thing they paid me to coach basketball.
Excellent. I know they had that just out there for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Which one people like.
I didn't vote on any of them. I know that there's a lot of controversy with Victor right now.
Yes, there is.
Apparently kids were afraid of him. He was voted in some poll as one of the scariest mascots.
ESPN.com ranked him as number 7 on the scariest mascots. But it was more of the company he was actually in was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were highly rated mascots. So they were the ones who did the those commercials, Citibank or whatnot for a while there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not a bad place to be.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Get our name out there, no matter how it's out there.
I'm just ready for the Victor stuff to be over.
That's right. I'm sure.
Marketing communications will be happy when.
I'm sure everybody will be happy when that's over.
However, being an alumni from back in the day, I'm a little biased. I actually think we need to bring Hey You back, is what I want. But, most people are like, what the heck's that?
Look like Puff the Magic Dragon.
Exactly,
Oh.
yes. He looked just
I've
like
never
that.
even heard of it.
Oh, yeah. He was our original mascot. We had some bobbleheads of him at one point. But, yeah, you're right. He definitely, especially with them releasing that movie, just the nostalgia factor there. But I appreciate your time.
Thank you
Coach.
so much. Of course.
Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks for coming by.
Welcome. My
nice
pleasure.
to meet you.